Hello, and welcome to Grid 2 Uncovered live stream number 6. I'm Lee from Codemasters. Joining me this week, as ever, I've got Ben manning the chat box. Say hello, Ben. Luke's also here this week. He's going to be manning the Twitter. Say hello, Luke.
Hello.
Back on the wheel this week again. Thank you very much for coming back, Joe.
No problem.
And also joining us this week, we've got Ian.
Hi.
Hi,
How's
Ian.
it going?
Thanks for joining us. I suppose we'll start off a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do on Grid 2?
I'm the producer on the project. Sorry, I was too far away from the mic there. Just really involved in loads of different aspects of the development of the game, really, from top to bottom.
Yeah. So what's like a normal day in the life of a producer then?
There isn't any such thing. I can be working on things like this and doing sort of PR related activities and working with the brand team, but also you can come in and you get bugs and things that are just completely left of field that you don't expect to come up, and that shapes your day. If you've got a bug in your inbox in the morning and it's something that you don't expect, then you can be working with sort of 4 or 5 different teams to get it resolved. So
you're the Superman of Grid 2?
I wouldn't say that. If you want to say that, that's cool. But
you're going to tell everybody that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it. I'll say Superman by name and nature.
Right, okay, so coming up in tonight's show, we've got some never seen before Overtake, which is a new mode that, like I said, you guys haven't seen before. We're going to be doing that on Barcelona. We're also going to be running the time attack mode on Indianapolis. We'll be showing off some more car customization. You guys really loved it last week, so we like showing it off as well. It was good fun. We'll try and make a slightly more prettier car this week, I think.
Professional car?
A more professional car is probably, it's probably not pretty is the right word.
Professional car, yeah.
And then we'll also be doing a race on the Côte d'Azur. Right, I think we're ready. I think we'll jump straight into a race.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll jump straight into a race. We're going to go over to Barcelona. As you can see, we're in the Mercedes C63. What can you tell us about this car, Ian?
Well, it's one of 3 different Mercedes that are in the game, actually. Sorry, I'm too far away from the mic. So it's actually one of my favourite cars, and it appears in Tier 2 in the game. And as you can see, it's got all the classic Mercedes styling, and it's one of the cars that I think has some of the best handling in the game as well. It alongside the sort of heavier BMWs. The E30 has a tendency to slide around, but the M1 and then the M3 are both really quite heavy cars, and they have that sort of hefty German feel when you're taking them around the track. So these are really fun to play. I think Joe's going to take us into the race.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just go for it. Okay, right. Into the loading screen. We'll get on with the show. We'll shut the mic down after this. What we're going to be doing is we've been asking for you guys questions. So if you've got anything that you want to know about Grid 2, something that you might have seen, something that you haven't seen yet, just fire the questions over in the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer them a little later on. There we go, guys. That was overtake mode. Joe, what happened? You didn't win.
Well, you've got to be quite patient in overtake mode. You can't go full beans. You've got to sort of take your time, choose your moments, and because as soon as you hit somebody, all your multiplayer's gone, and you start back to zero. So
I noticed you doing that because I would be just ploughing straight through all of those trucks.
That's not the aim of the game. You've got to take your time, choose your lines, and just opportunist. You just got to go for the opening when you can, and not be too overzealous with it. You just can't go racing around the track like you are in Time Attack. It just don't work. You can go around and try it if you like, but you won't get anywhere. You really have got to take your time, and it's actually quite difficult.
Someone stitched him up as well because he put it on very hard. So.
Yeah, I knew that was. Yeah. Who suggested that?
It might have been me who put you on very hard. So, tell us a little bit about sort of the overtake mode. How do you guys have an idea like that and it go from, well, obviously not existing to sort of making it right through into the game? What's the whole process like for getting something like that in that isn't necessarily a normal type of racing mode?
Well, the idea for Overtake is that, I mean, it sits quite naturally in the career mode in the game. It does also appear in online and in custom race, but it fits naturally into the career because what we imagined was that alongside the sort of traditional racing that you'd be doing, the stuff that you'd be doing in race series and that sort of thing, you would be getting given promo events as well. So in your career HUD, you're going to have a series of different events against primarily clubs to take on and invite into the WSR, and then ultimately WSR events as well. But alongside those, you'll have vehicle challenges where you can pick up vehicles that you didn't pick earlier on in the career. And then also you'll have promo events, and that's the area of the game that this type of mode lives in. So what we imagined was that as a real race driver, you would have various different brands coming to you. In the case of the live stream that we're showing at the moment, the brand for this particular event is Flat Fitty, and they're basically putting on this event as a showcase. It's a sort of spectacle sort of thing. So as you can see, the different trucks that are on the track are not particularly competitive. They're just there to get in your way. It's you against an AI opponent, and it's head-to-head. So basically you have to overtake more trucks that are on the track than they have. And essentially it's the person that gains the most points for overtaking those trucks that will win at the end of the game. But it's the type of thing that we imagined that in real life, maybe some big sponsor would put on an event and they would have somebody like Tanner Faust go against Ken Block, or they would have Michael Schumacher go against Sebastian Vettel or something like that, just as a sort of little bit of a showcase and something for people to talk about on the internet. And that really feeds into what the mechanics in the career mode of the game are. As you progress through it, you increase your fan count. So I mean that just feeds in exactly to what this is. Brands would do this for sort of viral purposes to get more people talking about their brands. So if lots of different people are talking about this particular event, then that makes perfect sense. So competing in these will give you more fans in the career as well.
Cool, awesome. Right, we've been getting your questions in. We actually collected some of these up earlier as well. So I'm going to field a very random selection of questions to you. First one comes from ArmyBoy1994 over on Twitter. He wants to know how many cars and tracks are there in the game in total?
It's a tricky one off the top of my head. There are around 50 plus cars in the game. First off, it's important to state that it's not exactly an arms race with the likes of Gran Turismo and Forza. It's not something that we ever set out to do with this game. We wanted enough fresh, cool content from start to finish in the game to keep you hooked in. We don't want 50 different variations of the same Mercedes car in different guises. We want the sort of best, most iconic cars from each manufacturer and also from each different type of race series. So it's about getting an eclectic, different, mix of cars that you can pick up and you can learn the different styles of racing in them. So there's around 50 different cars. As far as tracks are concerned, we have, I think, 12 different locations, and then within the locations there are around 5 or 6 different track variants. So there's lots of variation there, and then when you add into the mix the live routes aspect as well. So in the city tracks, obviously we've got the live route system, which offers almost infinite variation on the different ribbons of track that we've already built there. So I think there's quite a lot of different variation.
Plenty to keep people busy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, okay. This next question comes from MattMatt524 on Twitter. He wants to know what we've changed with the drifted events.
Well, I tend to say this quite a lot about all of the aspects of the game, but we really sort of broke down everything that we did in Grid 1 and then tried to rebuild it from the ground up and really said, what is it that's making these things work and what things do we need to improve on? One thing in particular with drift that we found was a little bit of an annoyance or a hindrance to players in Grid 1 was that you'd find that players tend to sort of fishtail quite a lot. They'll just slalom left and right to try and create enormous combos. Yeah, so that's something that we've managed to get rid of this time and actually put emphasis on linking real drift. So like properly getting the back end of the car out and actually controlling a car that's lost traction. So we basically implemented a system whereby the tech detects how much of a drift you're in, whether or not you're like what angle you're actually drifting at, and what your proximity is to the actual drift marker on each corner. So that's improved it so that you don't go online and actually pull off amazing, brilliant drifts, and then somebody else is just sort of fishtailing along the course and getting a million times multiplier for it. It makes it a little bit more fair to the people that are playing properly.
Cool. We've also been getting a lot of questions on sort of the customization options. Obviously, we've shown this off last week in the live stream. What we're actually going to do is we're going to show it off a little bit more today. But this question that's come in on Twitter, there's a lot of people asking it in the chat box as well. Sort of similar question. This is from Juice X Machina, and he wants to know: can the liveries your opponents use be recreated in the livery editor, because he was jealous of some of his opponents' liveries in Grid 1?
Yes, absolutely. The livery editor obviously we're going to show it in a little bit more detail now, but it really allows you to do anything that you see on the other cars in the game. So if you go online in a race and somebody's got a fancy livery and different patterns and so on, you're actually going to be able to go find that in your cache of different stuff in the livery editor. The only time I think that you're not going to be able to completely replicate what you see online is if you're not online, in the career mode, is when you come up against the different clubs, because you're not driving for those clubs. You can't have the decals and stuff that they
so
have
you
there,
can't do your car up like Elimination and like Transamerica and
exactly. Yeah, so they sort of stand on their own, but you are obviously able to sort of customize it to your heart's content with the decals available to you.
Awesome. Right. Okay. I'm just loading up the livery editor so that we can show you all the. Actually, I know what we haven't spoken about yet. We haven't spoken about the brand new shiny garage. Fans of the live stream that have been watching in the past, you will have noticed that we've been in. I don't know how best to describe it. It was kind of like somebody's house. Yeah. There was the dog outside and cars driving past. Obviously, something's changed at this point in the game. So, how is it we've found ourselves in this new, much bigger garage?
So essentially, in the career mode of the game, there's the sort of thread. If you're not familiar with it, I'll just do a sort of simple overview. But basically, Patrick Callahan has asked you to come on board and be his star driver. He's an entrepreneur that wants to start World Series racing. So in the first garage that you're in, it was really you going to different club events and beginning to sort of pick up momentum as a race driver and get the WSR a little bit of buzz and a little bit of people talking about it. After you get to the point where the first WSR takes place, rightly so, he kind of sees that you've got the talent that he was looking for. So going into Season 2, you move into this slightly bigger, shinier garage with a bit more space, room for all the different equipment that you'll be using. And as you can see in the background, there's also space for more than just one car. So it really sort of helps sort of drill in the progression and show that the world around you is evolving while you're playing the game. It's also a movement from in the first garage you just sit on the sort of PC screen, so you move across that to navigate through your different events. Now that you move to garage 2, you've got a sort of projected video projector on the wall.
So is it, I can't quite do it with the controller. Is that what's behind us there over by the car?
Exactly, yeah. That in the background there is the place where you'll navigate through the different events and different parts of the title.
Cool. Right. I'm trying to pick a good livery. I think I'm quite liking this one.
I think black and grey always works quite well if you're going for something slightly more
I
professional.
wanted to change the colours a bit because we were always showing off black and grey. I don't know what to go for a base colour though.
Just look mean.
Just look mean. So obviously we've got the flip paint on here. I think. What do you think? Oh, that looks better.
Yeah, it shows up the detail on the black decal quite well.
Right. There we go. Okay, that's the first one picked. We want a bit of red. So we've got that there. Where's that going? That's on the stripe. I quite like that. I don't know.
Works well with the NSX
What have we got?
rear light panel, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know. The white. What do you think, guys? Guys in the chat box, let us know what you think. I think I'm okay with that. I quite like the white one.
So I didn't catch the outcome of last week's livery editor.
Last week's livery editor, the first one I really, really liked. The first one was
Disco Dinosaur.
it was pretty much a disco dinosaur. It was the car was black with the Velociraptor on the side.
Okay.
With like neon pink and green and
Okay.
like blue. It looked awesome. The second car that we did, which was the BMW 1M, that didn't look so good. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay. So we need to up our game.
We need to up our game. We need to look. Well, we're in tier 2 now.
Yep.
We're not messing about in Dad's garage.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to up our game.
A big thing in terms of the livery editor is because you can set the colours the way that you want them, but also the manufacturer logos that appear in the car. Sometimes their colour sets are just not going to match the style that you want for the car.
Yeah.
You think back to some of the sort of famous Formula One livery styles, they've always really embedded the sponsorship into it. I think quite a lot of them are actually probably selective about the sponsors that they have so that it fits their
With
sort
the
of
car,
visual
yeah.
style. So as well as the decals and that aspect of what's going on there, we also have access to the sponsors that you've already picked for your car, and your ability to sort of change those as well. So you'll be able to change the colours and flip them around to things that are actually appropriate to the car that you and the style that you've got. The sponsors that you pick, though, you do just to go into a little bit more detail about that. You pick those once per season, and then you stick with them per season because a really important part of the sponsor system is that you have to complete objectives to win fans from them. So, for example, HKS or OGO, as they're sort of shown on there, or Toyo Tires, give you a particular objective to complete while you're playing the game. And then through that season, you should be able to sort of cumulatively do that over the course of the season, or it might just be to actually beat the star driver for a club, whatever it may be. We kind of felt like you need the whole season to be able to do that, so that's why they remain on the car until you get another chance to sort of switch them around at the start of the next.
You swap them around sort of as you go. So
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, everything we've showed in the game before, that was always when we were at tier 1. We were right at the start of the game then, which is why we didn't have anything on the car. So once they're all sort of on the car, I mean, like you say, you've got those bonuses and everything. That's quite a bit of a change from, I suppose, the money system that we used in the first grid.
Yep.
Do we need money essentially for anything in Grid 2?
Yeah, there is a currency system that exists online, but in the single player campaign, the player essentially has all the stuff that would cost money delivered to them from Patrick Callahan. So he's sort of the entrepreneur who's going to give his star driver. If you're the poster boy for the company, then you shouldn't want for anything. So any time that you need a vehicle to get into a particular event style, or a vehicle to drive in a particular series, then he'll deliver that to you, and you should be good to go. In the online aspect of the game, you're going to need to spend your cash and spend it wisely as well. So, sort of about making choices and spending that money in a way that sort of will get you to where you need to be against your opponents in the game, and also sort of help demonstrate your personality online as well. So whether that's for physical upgrades for the car, things that will change the shape of the actual bodywork and paneling, or whether that's things that are going to sort of do things under the hood to improve performance. So yeah, the money system, the currency system is in place online.
Cool. So I've just noticed we've got this. We've got a couple of different options with where we actually want the sort of the decals to go on the car, which isn't something that we had before in the previous grid as well.
Yeah, there's a sort of multi-layout system. So as you can see at the bottom there, the different styles that you can go through are drift, which was the layout you just saw, and then race, which has a more sort of traditional feel and more square, straight-on type placements, and then street, which is more akin to the type of thing that you would see in Gumball Rally, something where the sponsorship is pretty dominant on the vehicle.
Cool. I don't know what looks best for this. I'm quite liking the drift, actually. I think that lays out quite nice on this. You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We'll
Unless
go with
there's
that then.
cries of pain in the comment section, then I think we'll go with that.
Obviously, as well, like we sort of showed you guys before, you've got the store and recall function as well. What that lets you do is you can save your liveries as you go. So if you have a certain set, say you've got your own racing clan online and you race with a load of guys, you can all have your own custom livery. But then when you're playing on your own, if you want to, you can just sort of mess around and have a bit of fun with it.
Fly solo.
Fly solo. So we want to store this one. We will give it a name. I'm going to call it Red Stripe because it has a red stripe and I'm a genius. So there we go. That's all done. That is on our NSX. We've also got this option here to apply it to all vehicles. So should we do that? I think we'll do that. And then what we'll be able to do is when we do an event a bit later on in the game, a bit later on in the live stream, sorry, you guys will be able to see obviously what that looks like. So there you go, and that's automatically added to the whole of our garage.
Awesome.
Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over to our tame racing driver. He's going to set us up for our next event.
Slow Joe.
Slow Joe. What we're doing for the next event, we're going to be doing a time attack event, which I don't believe we've shown time attack before either. Ben, have we shown time attack before?
Nope.
No, we haven't
Brand
shown
new.
time. Brand new.
Cool.
So tell us a little bit about time attack and how it works.
So time attack is a mode that's essentially it's like a time trial, but actually you've got other cars on the track whilst you're doing it. So it gives you that added layer of complexity in terms of taking the best possible racing line and really, really pushing it, but trying your best to stay away from opponents. So it's almost like a qualifying session might be. So really you just have to set the best possible time in the number of laps that you've got available, but also try your very best to stay away from the opponent cars as well.
Cool. Right. Let's get ready to go then. We'll knock the mic off. We'll let you guys enjoy the race, and then we'll be back with some of your questions. Just something that we have been getting asked quite a bit in the chat. And we've sort of been nagged about constantly over the last couple of weeks. Everybody's asking about the Steam pre-orders. They are now available. If you log into Steam or visit the Steam Store website, you'll be able to see it on there. You can pre-order the game. We've got like a tiered unlock system as well for all sort of the pre-order bonuses. We are currently sitting, I do believe, Tier 1 has been unlocked, so by pre-ordering the game you'll get the first reward pack. We're about 10% into reward 2 at the moment, so if you visit the Steam store you'll be able to check that out on there. I'll shut up now for a bit and we'll enjoy some Indianapolis. There we go. What happened? Joe, what happened?
Well, the Indianapolis circuit is quite a hard circuit. It's very flat. It's very flat circuits. It's very hard to judge where to sort of like start taking brake lines and stuff. Plus, on the first corner, it's a very wide sweeping corner that comes. It's like on a double sort of apex. I'm making excuses up here.
Making excuses.
Yeah, no, it is a really hard corner, and the car's quite a difficult car to get grips with. It's quite a focused car, so.
I will vouch for that. The
yeah.
NSX is a difficult car.
It is.
It is difficult in the game. If you just over-egg it a little bit, the back end will slip out, so you have to just be super careful.
Next thing you know, you're on the grass.
So that's why you notice me twitching the throttle, trying to keep the power on, but not too much. Just trying to keep control of the car, counter steering. It's just very difficult. I mean, you've seen the replay there. I'm trying to counter steer everything. It's a good focused car. It's just a very track focused car. It's just you got to get your teeth right into it. So I made a little few mistakes, but. You know, I ain't played this game much, so...
Hang on a minute, that's not what you said last week.
I actually have to correct that. There's more than... I've probably put over 1,000 hours on this
Over
game.
1,000
hours? I
hours?
went back and I was like, hold on a minute. I looked at my work ratio and I was like, no, it's 1,000 hours plus. It was the first time I've ever used the NSX. No, it isn't. That's my excuses.
That's all I'm hearing is excuses.
That's all you're going to hear from me. That's all you're going to hear.
Yeah, okay, so obviously we hope you like that track, guys. It was... It's interesting to be able to show it off.
Yeah.
Maybe you can come back next week and have another go, Joe.
Bit more practice.
More practice, yeah. So tell us, I suppose, a little bit about the NSX. It's a legendary car almost now. So I suppose a little bit of history and why that car was selected as one of our sort of best of the best to go into grid.
Well, I think the cars that always have driven in Le Mans have been cars that the guys in the studio really sort of hold up in really high regard, and obviously it took part in the sort of mid-90s Le Mans races, I think. And also, as far as production cars go, it was one of the ones that had the most sort of publicised influence from a race driver. So Ayrton Senna obviously had a fair bit to do with the car and how it was constructed. Obviously his championship cars always had Honda engines, so he gave a lot of input to Honda when they created this car. I believe he had sort of input with regards to how the chassis was built. So that obviously sort of holds quite a bit of weight, and we sort of all of us quite like this car. I think it's one of those sort of universally liked cars. It's got a really distinctive look, and it doesn't matter whether your game's out in sort of mid-90s or if it's in 2013. This is a car that's sort of always going to hold a place, I think.
Timeless.
Yeah, I think so.
It's iconic.
It's got an iconic sort of, even though it was built all the way through until I think about 2005, I'm not 100% sure, but even though it was built until then, it's still got that really sort of 80s, early 90s style into it, so it's a really nice car.
Right, okay. We've got couple of questions that we'll take. Guys in the chat box, we did see your question about the iFinity, don't worry. Would you like to confirm, does Grid 2 support iFinity?
Yeah, we do support it.
Huzzah! So you can stop copy pasting in the chat box now, guys. Okay, some of the questions that we've had come in. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Tokorobal? Tokorable, maybe, on Twitter. He wants to know how many classic muscle cars will be in the game.
They're around 3 or 4. The different ones that we actually have in the game are, well, we've shown off a fair bit of the Ford Mustang Mach 1 Twisted Special. It's been shown in quite a few different videos, but we also have the Dodge Charger RT, and then also Camaro Z28. And in addition to those, we've got their sort of latter predecessors as well, so the sort of more up-to-date versions of those cars.
So where do they sort of sit in the game, sort of in the like in the tier system-wise?
So those
the majority of them sort of,
I think majority
tier
of them
one?
are tier 1, and they will sit alongside the classic JDM cars as well. So we sort of wanted to have a little bit of an East meets West sort of vibe in that first season.
Yeah.
The game does span across sort of the North America, Europe, and Asia. So just kicking it off straight away with that sort of challenge of East meets West is quite a cool way to go with it, I thought.
Cool. Question from WeRiser over on Twitter. He wants to know, is the online leveling system similar to our previous games?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's, as I mentioned before, it's not based on it's not based on currency. Sorry, it is based on currency, unlike the single player mode. But the leveling system is essentially based on leveling up as you complete races and beating opponents online, and then spending the cash that you accrue while you're online on the various different things that you can do to your car. So to go into that in a little bit more detail, when you go from tier to tier in the online campaign, players are going to come up against opponents who've obviously got cars that are more souped up, more high performance than theirs, and in order to be able to compete with them, they need to sort of begin accruing money, being able to actually spend that on different things that they can do to the car, or continue to race in sort of lower level tier 1 races and spend that cash once you build it all up, spend that cash on a brand new car. It really depends on what way you want to do it. So the progression system works in that way. What you can do is that if you buy a tier 1 car, and you continue to upgrade it and do everything possible to it, and then you come up against some tier 2 cars, actually the one that you've done so much upgrades on will be on par with some of those tier 2 cars because of the amount of work that you've done on it. So those tiers, in terms of categorizing all the cars, you can say, yeah, that's a tier 1, that's a tier 2, but actually it's a lot more of a organic sort of thing, as it would be in real life. When you modify a car, you can do various different things to its performance.
Right, okay, back to the garage. There you guys can see that is the VW Golf, obviously. That's our livery that's just been applied sort of straight to that when we hit that button that went apply all, obviously. That's what that livery sort of looks like on the car. If we wanted to, we could go in and again change it up. We can switch sort of to the different styles from the drift to the street, just to try and get it looking exactly how we want it to be. So it's all very fast, it's very easy to do. You can sort of flick through it straight from, well, regardless of whether you're playing online or not, you can even just flick through sort of the normal standard manufacturer liveries that are on there and race with those if you want, if you don't want to be using your own for a particular race.
I think that's one of the things that's so good about the way that we've delivered the livery editor for Grid 2 is that you can go into massive amounts of detail and choose like multi-tonal paint and choose what the different variations on the colour for that paint is and all that sort of thing. But if you just want to crack on with getting into races, but you don't want the default livery, it's really quick just to slam on some different colours and then get in the race.
Yeah, you're not going to get paint. You're not going to be missing out on anything by not doing
exactly.
it if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We'll take a couple of questions actually just before we jump into the next race. Take over some from some of the guys on the forums. SG, I want to say his name is SGLL. I never know how to pronounce internet names. They need a whole. I need the degree in pronouncing internet names. To be honest, I need a degree in like pronouncing most words.
Just say the first thing that comes to your head.
He wants to know if we'll see Donington and other classic tracks in future DLC.
The DLC will be announced in more detail, I think, when we come around to launch time. But certainly, tracks and different things that are being floated around at the moment are things that I'm quite excited about telling people about. There will be DLC.
But you're not going to?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not allowed to.
And I was trying to stop you.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. There are a number of different tracks that are actually being floated around right now, and they've not been completely confirmed. So, if people shout loudly enough about certain things, then we might.
So, if there's enough demand for something, we can certainly look at it. It's nothing. We've got to finish the game first before we start working on the DLC. Okay, another question that's it's one of the regular ones. A couple of the guys on the forums. This guy is called Bianca Kizuro. That's a. I don't know. You could have just used your real name on the forums, honestly, guys, if you wanted. He wants to know if the Fanatec CSW will be supported in Grid 2. I haven't got the full wheel list to hand at the moment, but you can just Ben will fire a link to the wiki page into the chat box. You can visit IGN.com as well and have a look at the Grid 2 wiki, which we've sort of housed on there. That's got the full wheel list for you and everything on there. So whether you've got a Fanatec or sort of any other brands of wheels, you'll be able to see if yours is sort of fully supported for Grid 2. I think we're ready for another race.
I'm ready.
You're ready for another race? Is everybody ready for another race?
Oh, yeah.
Luke?
Yeah.
Sure? Right, okay. Yeah, if you just hit back. what we'll do is then, okay, this next race, what we're doing is we're going to the Côte d'Azur and St. Lawrence race. I believe this is the first time we showed this track off as well. Well, this version of the track. This version of the track.
We did Côte d'Azur last week.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So yeah, there are multiple routes that you can race on each different track.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got the options of day or night on a lot of them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I've gone for day.
You've gone for day.
Yeah, 'cause
I can see that, it's sunny.
Yeah.
Right, okay, we'll keep quiet and let you guys enjoy the race. Joe, third time lucky, you won an event.
Well, I was holding back for the finale, really. I was teasing them. So
it was the big finish.
It was a big finish, yeah, in the golf.
I'll ask you this. There's a lot of guys talking about sort of the physics that have sort of gone in to make up Grid 2. Obviously, it's a very important part of any racing game is that it sort of feels right and everything acts as it should. What can you tell us about the physics, and I suppose why did we pick this track as well at the end to show off at the end of the live stream?
So there have been massive updates from what we've previously done. The last title where we made updates to physics was Dirt 3, and then we continued those through Showdown. But with this, we've really pushed to ensure that the cars are when the player plays the game, they can feel exactly what the car should be experiencing through its wheels as they drive across the tarmac. So as the car moves across an expansive track, the game is sampling the undulations and changes in the road, and as well as that, the changes in traction on the wheels and how they're connected to the road 1,000 times a second. So it's operating at 1,000 hertz. As far as I know, the best competitors are sort of running at about 600 hertz. All that means really is that the higher you sample that, the more feedback that you're getting for a track that you're covering. So when you're moving at sort of 100 miles an hour, for example, across maybe 100 meters or whatever it may be, there will be sections of the track that you're not having fed back to you if you don't sample high enough. So the physics simulation and what we can actually understand and then perceptibly feed back to the player through the controller so that they can then correct things. Like, for example, when Joe was driving in the NSX, just as it began to lose traction, he was getting the feedback just quick enough to be able to hold it on the road. Obviously not in the first corner, but once he got to grips with it, then he was doing pretty well.
Throttle playing, a lot of counter steering. You really know as soon as a car hits something, you really start throttle playing and stuff. You really do know the car's going. You can feel it going to go, and you've got to correct it. You really can. Yeah,
and then the second part was about Côte d'Azur, was it?
Yeah, Côte d'Azur. Why did we pick this track?
Well, luckily enough, I actually worked on Grid 2 way back when we originally sort of picked the different tracks and then looked at the pros and cons of the different places that we would include. And I think this is case in point. There's a good example of a sort of motorway tunnel there and a sort of more urbanised aspect of what the Côte d'Azur offers. And then it's juxtaposed with the beautiful vistas and the sort of scenery and stuff that you saw before we went into the tunnel. This bit's a little bit more urbanized as you sort of head towards the town. There's a lot more of this sort of street signage and that sort of thing. But just being able to sort of take the player on a journey. When they drive at the start, they've got the beautiful scenic aspects of it. And then actually as you drive, you've got sort of a bit of a story to tell and a bit of a journey to go on. And also, I've just sort of spotted castle ruins and stuff as well. So, there's a bit of everything, really.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. Okay. We hope you guys have enjoyed the live stream this week. Very quickly, if you have liked what you've seen, drop by preorder.gridgame.com. Over on there, you'll find sort of all the information, depending on what country you live, as to where's best to pre-order for you. Obviously, if you're a PC player as well, you can visit, just boot up Steam. We're sort of right there. I think we were sitting quite healthily at the top, sort of half of the charts. Obviously, you can just search for us on the Steam store as well, and to boost the unlocks, and the more people that pre-order, the more stuff you'll all get. Obviously, it's all sort of, it all rolls back. So if you pre-order a bit later on, then you've unlocked like one of the earlier bonuses. It's everybody gets everything basically, so you're not going to be missing out. We'll take a very quick few last questions. Boyd on the forum wants to know, how long will the single player mode be?
So if you smash your way through it, I think you can probably do it somewhere between sort of 20-25 hours, I think. But if you
that's missing a lot of content though.
Yeah, exactly. If you just complete the required events and then keep moving through it, then you can do it about that quickly. But if you actually do all the side missions, as it were, so promo events, vehicle challenges, and you do a bit of test drive as well, then I think it's about 30 hours. So there's a fair old whack of content in there. Not only gameplay, but there's some sort of video FMV content through the career as well.
It's not something that we showed off much, but it's something that does come up very often. A lot of people want to see sort of how the damage works in Grid. We will be showing that off a little bit sort of as the weeks go on and as we get closer to launch. I suppose the short version is he wants to know, like, if there's going to be wheels flying around the track and sort of terminal damage and things like that.
There's a really good example of that. If people look up the Eurogamer video, basically we did a presentation at Eurogamer where I spoke a little bit about live routes, but also Gin, who's the car handling lead designer, he talks quite a lot about how we manage and construct the damage in the game. Wheels and stuff flying off, yeah, you can burst tires and the wheel, you'll basically shred it all the way down to the wheel. Those things happen, you have to really just contend with it as you drive through. But we always have to just be mindful of what the constructors and manufacturers want. So if we were showing it in quite such an extreme way that they weren't happy, then we'd obviously have to rein it back in. So it's a fine balancing act for each different car and each manufacturer, really.
Awesome. Right. Another question that comes up a lot. A lot of guys are asking for specs for the PC. Obviously, that's on the Steam page as well. It's also on the IGN wiki. Ben will fire links to those into the chat box for you guys as well. Another question that's come up as well. People want to know if audio names are going to be back. So, will the game call out your name like it used to? There was the very nice assistant lady that would say, "Hello, Lee."
Definitely. Yeah, so Patrick Callahan will be chatting to you in first name terms when you're in the game. Whether or not that's your real name or whether it's a nickname like Chocolate or, whatever it might be. Okay, Chocolate. Yeah, those are back in there, so that's quite a cool touch. In addition to that, though, as well, in the career, if you type your name into the game, your profile sort of exists through everything. So as the WSR grows around you, the media that picks up you as a driver and begins to sort of talk about your skill, where you're going in the world of racing, you'll actually have your name displayed in the video. So we're actually rendering the correct text for whoever's put that in their profile into the videos live in the game. So that's another nice little touch, I think, just to make it feel like it's your career that's evolving around you.
Awesome. Right. Okay. I think we're done for the evening.
Cool.
It was a good show, guys.
Home time.
Thank you very much for coming along, Joe, and being our driver again.
Same time next week, I suppose.
Same time next week, yeah. 6 o'clock. Ian, it was a pleasure to have you. I know you've got to rush off. I don't want to keep you much later.
No problem.
You've got to get
dinner.
You've got to get back to have dinner. So yeah, I mean, a big thanks to sort of all you guys for coming along and watching on Twitch TV. If you're just catching in at the end of the live stream, where have you been? What you've missed, having dinner, probably, yeah. You've missed tonight Barcelona on the Overtake. We've also shown off Indianapolis on the Time Attack, a little bit of car customization, and obviously what you can see now on the replay is the Côte d'Azur in the Volkswagen Golf. We'll have the replay up on YouTube, hopefully sometime this evening, or it'll probably be tomorrow. All you need to do is just visit youtube.com/gridgame. As soon as it is up, we'll be letting you guys know on Facebook and Twitter, which is twitter.com/gridgame, and obviously facebook.com/gridgame. Nice and easy, no excuses for forgetting that, is there?
No, not at all.
No. Right, okay. It's been great to have you along. If by any chance any of you guys are watching in the UK, we have got some game events going on over the weekend. If you visit game.co.uk/events, you'll be able to get a list of everywhere that we're going to be over the weekend. So if you happen to be in the area, pop along, and you can actually get hands on with Grid 2. Have a play. I believe Friday is Brighton, so you can spend the weekend at the seaside.
Brilliant. Seeing cars, that's all you need.
Seeing cars.
Well, yeah, that's all you need.
So yeah, if you liked what you've seen, visit preorder.gridgame.com. I've been Lee from Codemasters. Thank you very much. Round of applause to the driver.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll be back same time next week on Twitch TV.
Donations in the inbox.